Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Feeding the Curious Mind. My name's John Pullen, and I'm a writer of fiction and non fiction books. We're going to look at one particular part of the moon on this episode. It's called the Linne crater, and it was named after the botanist Carl Linnaeus. Now, we know a couple of things about the moon. One, it has no atmosphere. Therefore, all of the craters that we can see on the moon have been made by meteorites, which of course have not burnt up because there's no atmosphere. The other thing we know about the moon is that it's a dead world. It wasn't always so. Billions of years ago, when it was formed, probably through a collision with another large object with the Earth, the moon was very, very volcanic. We can see that today by the seas of the moon, which of course are lava fields rather than liquid. Now, the Linnaeus crater, in 1866, a foremost authority on the moon and in charge of the Athens Observatory was a gentleman by the name of Schmidt, Johann Schmidt. He was observing in 1866 the moon, and in particular the Linne crater. And he, over a short period of time, observed that the crater had changed shape. This should never have happened because the moon is dead. But is it? Because he was such an authority on the moon, many other astronomers for decades to come started studying this part of the moon, the Linne crater. No further evidence for the observations were found. So it became the general idea that what had happened to Schmidt was that the optics in his telescope, remember this was the 19th century, were not that good, and he may have made a mistake by seeing a distortion. However, over recent years, there's a new theory, one that says that perhaps Johann Schmidt may have been correct. We believe that deep within the lunar surface are outgassings, as they're called. They're the sort of remains of the volcanic activity that was there billions of years ago. And it's just possible that when Schmidt was observing that particular part of the moon, he witnessed an outgassing. And therefore, that outgassing, although he couldn't identify it as gas, distorted what he was looking at. We don't know whether or not this is true, but over the next few years, we are going to land humans again on the moon and eventually set up a base there. And perhaps then we may be able to answer the question on whether the moon is completely dead or just in a coma.